Hello, good people. It is good to be with you today, even if it couldn't be in person. I made first profession with the Sisters of St. Francis in 1985. I remember that inspiration of the Spirit, that force of love that with time became very insistent, so that I couldn't help but recognize in it the voice of God. Because of my experience of a religious call, I knew I could trust my personal discernments down the road when new doors opened for me. I have always been one who pays attention to people and events that cross my path and try to be tuned in to how they influence my life. I believe God truly takes us by the hand, and sometimes to places we don't always want to go, at least at first. I ministered as a director of faith formation for the past 26 years in parishes in Sylvania and Minneapolis and St. Paul. About 20 years ago, I ministered in a small parish in Corsicana, Texas. I completed a master's degree in theological studies at the University of Dallas. Well, after just 3 years in Texas, my parents wanted me back in Minnesota as they were aging, and I was their only child. I stayed in Minnesota for 17 years, ministering in parishes and to the needs of my parents. After my mother passed away, I told my dad that I wouldn't move away as long as he was alive. He died in 2008. I loved my ministry in faith formation. I enjoyed the variety it offered. But in January of 2011, I sat at my desk one day, feeling way too content in my ministry, but also not challenged and maybe a little bored. I sensed a need for something different, but I didn't know what. Do I stay in faith formation? Where would I go? I was aware of my interest not only in spirituality, but also in the medical field, as I had worked for surgeons before entering the convent. I always wanted to minister in one of our sponsored ministries, but didn't know what I could do. There were other little things in my life outside of my ministry that surfaced during the day, and when I prayed about them, I sensed a nudge to move on. Then in June of 2011, I received a phone call from one of our sisters. She asked me if I would be open to considering a new position within our Sylvania Franciscan Health. I was asked to discern the position of Vice President of Mission Integration for St. Joseph Health System in Bryan, Texas. Well, I felt like someone had just hit me over the head with a baseball bat. I knew, though, that St. Joseph Hospital had a wonderful reputation. However, I was intimidated by the position and the title, but also humbled by it. Couldn't they just call me a director instead of a vice president? The title scared me. I thought, I can't do this. I didn't really want to leave Minnesota. I had my friends there from high school, sister friends. Most of my relatives lived there, and we often got together. I loved the neighborhood and my walks to the river area, the nearby pool in the summer. This all energized me. My life was good there, and I'm asked to leave this. I thought, I'm going to be 60 years old. I don't like the thought of change. But I knew from past experiences that I enjoyed new adventures. They stretch and challenge me to grow, to meet new people, and all of this is life-giving. I told God I was scared and that I wasn't sure if I knew how to really surrender to Him. I wasn't sure if I knew how to listen well, but trusted God with my life. I flew to Texas in July, loved the smaller city of Bryan. It had a homey feeling. I loved the hospital and the administrative team I would be working with. I have always been drawn to water, and I love to walk and swim during my leisure time. There at my new residence was a pond, just like the one that I would take my dad out to when he was in memory care. I could feel his hug. Plus, there was a swimming pool to enjoy. There were other sisters from my community to eat and pray with. All of this would energize me. I held all of it before the Lord, and with each new day, I found my heart getting enthused, and I received the courage to move along. When I went into the convent, my mother asked me, "What is going to happen to all of my pretty things?" Well, I was able to bring these with me, and they fit perfectly in my home. I knew God and my parents were with me. My ministry is life-giving. I give presentations on our mission and values to new employees. I represent our healthcare system at numerous functions, and I plan celebrations and spiritual days. I just began in November, and each day a little more unfolds for me to learn. I would encourage sisters considering a transition to a new field of ministry to pay attention to their feelings and what energizes them, to tune in to the people and circumstances around them. A listening heart is needed, and to trust God to walk with them because God wants the best for us and wants us to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to find our life meaningful. We are here to be His instruments, and God gives us what we need to fulfill that purpose. Thank you.